Right, I'm in Stromness for the Orkney Folk Festival 2019 with Còig from Cape Breton in Canada. And would you mind introducing yourselves and telling us what instruments you play?
Yeah. I'm Chrissy Crowley. I play fiddle.
I'm Jason Roach. I play piano.
I'm Darren McMullen. I play guitar and mandolin and bouzouki and stuff that's not fiddles. Yeah.
And I'm Rachel Davis. I play fiddle and viola and sing.
Thank you. How's the folk festival going for you so far? You enjoying your time in Orkney?
Yes. It's been amazing, and we are very tired because of all the fun we're having.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
People are getting into the spirit then.
Exactly, yeah.
So you're from Cape Breton, I believe. Is that you, Darren? Is that right?
Yeah, I'm the mainlander in the band. Yeah, but they let me in.
So a lot of people from Scotland settled in Nova Scotia, hence the name. And I would imagine they took their music with them.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if you could tell me a bit about what makes the traditional music of Cape Breton different to Scotland or Ireland.
So, we're told that we play a similar style to the Scottish Highland style of, we'll say, the 1800s. We can't go back in time to to see if that's true or not, but the styles have evolved differently. The Cape Breton style of Strathspey in particular is quite a bit different from Scotland these days, but we still steal all of the tunes we can from here. Anybody want to weigh in on this?
When you say different, what do you mean exactly in terms of the music?
So the style of Strathspeys that we do, they're more based around the step dancing style that we have in Cape Breton. So the step dancers have really dictated the fashion in which we play them. So they're a little faster. The bowing is quite a bit more heavy. So there's an attack to go with the tapping of the feet, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And that kind of applies to the reels as well and the jigs.
Okay. So there is a formalized kind of dancing to go along with it then?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. That's interesting. I'm sure that's evolved as well.
Yeah.
So how do you go about, you're writing writing original music and playing traditional music. So how do you go about integrating the two in terms of songwriting?
Well, they seem to fit together pretty seamlessly, amazingly enough, because I know we have a lot of sets where we write our own stuff and then pair it with things that are very old Scottish tunes that are a couple 100 years old. But I don't know, some things, it seems like that it hasn't really changed a whole lot in a couple 100 years. I mean, people are coming up with new tunes, but they still seem to fit together really well.
Do you see yourself as part of a continuing tradition of storytelling through music? It seems to me that Scottish music has a lot of history in it, even though it doesn't have words, quite a lot of it. But when you look at what the tunes are about...
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so. That's what we hope for, I guess.
This is kind of a slightly different train of thought, but one thing, and it was Darren that really brought this to the band, making sure that anytime we put out an album that we have a really big booklet to go with it that actually tells the story behind every tune. So just like you said, although it's instrumental, we make sure that people understand the story of where the tune came from. That's
excellent. So your new album's called Ashlar, your most recent album. Would you mind explaining where the name came from?
This is because I forced the name on the band. No. And I'm pretty sure we're looking at examples of it right now outside, but yeah, this is an Ashlar, but straight ahead would be Ashlar, which you guys can't see, sorry, but Ashlar is a style of masonry, and the idea is that each stone isn't necessarily uniform in size or shape, but they're shaved down so that they fit together with minimal effort or mortar. So we thought it was a good theme for the album because every track is quite a bit different. The genre is different or the mood is different, but they all fit together. So we're real life Ashlar, everybody. Woo!
Well, how did you achieve that in the studio then? Did you record all the songs at the same time, or?
Not even, yeah. We've been so busy that it's been hard juggling schedules and trying to get everything done. So it's never a seamless recording process for us. But I think the approach we take to it musically is what makes it all fit. Mm-hmm.
And do you write music as a group or individually? And do you all contribute to the songwriting process or arranging?
I feel like I'm talking too much. Somebody else talk.
I believe you had a a different element because you're a jazz pianist. Is that right?
I wouldn't call myself that, but
But that is unusual for a folk band, though.
yeah, maybe. We write our tunes by ourselves, really, but then the arranging process is done together, mostly.
So in terms of jazz influence, where are you getting your influences from? What's your favorite type of jazz?
Well, I always liked Thelonious Monk. Kind of a rough, more angular style, I guess. But I don't listen to too much music, so. Yeah.
That's surprising.
Jason took a jazz university degree, so he had to listen to it then for sure.
Yeah.
A bunch.
And live stuff, always,
Yeah.
I was always into. So.
Well, my dad forced a lot of jazz on me when I was growing up, so I can empathise with not wanting to hear it. You have a song on Ashlar called Mystery Groove. Can I ask what that's about, or will it spoil the mystery?
No, not really. Well, it's a couple of tunes that Darren and I both wrote, both with kind of family members in mind, I guess. The very first tune in that I named it Mystery Fiddle. It's named after my grandfather's violin, and my grandfather was my first fiddle teacher and my biggest influence, and his brother brought this fiddle home for him over from Holland, actually, after the Second World War was over, and he managed to get it all the way home in this kit bag somehow, all the way over the ocean without smashing it, and there's no markings in the fiddle at all to say how old it is or who made it, so it was always kind of a mystery, but we always thought that it had the best sound. We really loved it. So I decided to name the tune after that. And then the second tune's Darren's.
Yeah, the second tune is Charlie Mason's Groove for my uncle, who passed away years ago, but he always liked really groovy things, anything with syncopated or anything on an offbeat. He'd stop right in the middle of a sentence if he was talking to you, if something caught his ear. And as the tune was coming out, it was there was little groovy things in it or offbeats in it, and I just started thinking of him. And he helped me a lot when I was really young with guitars I didn't have access to, helping me get some things figured out and stuff like that. So that's where the groove comes from. Then so we put the two names together, and that's Mr. Groove.
Well, that's nice that they have a strong personal connection. I hope you've not taken that instrument on tour with you.
No. Neither of us did. We were too scared.
If we're driving, we have the guitar. If we're driving, the guitar and the fiddle come with us. But if we're flying, they stay.
Too risky. Yeah, I understood. I would like to ask you if the Cape of a Wife and Home from the Forest are connected in any way, because it seemed to me that they might be about the same person.
Darren picked them. There's the song.
They're
That's the only thing.
they're very, very different. The Cape of a Wife is actually another name for the old man in the wood. Kate Rusby did it, and so that's where we kind of got it. And we found, like, just looking at the words and how the song goes, it's more about the old man's buffoonery, I guess, and about her strength. So the title being The Old Man is a little. I thought it'd be nicer if the title was about the wife instead, because she's the strong one who actually comes out on top in the end. And it's an old song. There's many titles for it, so we just looked at some different titles and figured we'd pick the one that we liked. And then Home from the Forest is a Gordon Lightfoot song from Canada, and it's about an older homeless guy who how do you say it quickly and without making everybody cry? Dead of winter, he found himself without a place to go and ended up overnight not making it. But in his mind, he's going back and he's reliving a bunch of different chapters of his life as the song goes on. It's a beautiful song. Really doesn't have much to do with the wife out in the plow and all that stuff.
But you sing both.
But I do sing both.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why, yeah. They're standouts on the record. The ones that I sing are the standouts really on the record.
Well, I must apologise, I'm not familiar with Canadian folk music, but that's good. Thank you for answering that. I was also wondering if you had any influences from outside the world of music that come into your music.
That's a question.
I mean, maybe in the, tune writing process, a certain event or person might inspire it, and they're not necessarily related to us musically, but...
I often think about, my father is a folk artist, a wood carver, and I kind of consider myself a carver too, like musically, just mold things, cut away or paint,
Ashlar.
color,
That's interesting. I did read that one of you was into fishing.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, that, I wrote, my brother's a deckhand on a lobster boat, or I shouldn't just say lobster, they do crab and everything. And so that going out fishing with him inspired, one of the tracks on the record is called Time and Tide after the last reel, so I wrote that reel after going out with them. And the B part is kind of a weird timing, and it reminds me of boat naps when you're going, because that's how hard of a worker I am on the boat. I have like a good solid 2-hour boat nap every time I go out, and the way the boat crashes, it kind of matches the timing of the B part. So, yeah, there you go, real life example of that.
Excellent, thank
To
you.
answer your question, yes.
Great. So what's next for Còig?
Nap time.
Well, we are on tour in the UK for the next couple weeks after Orkney's over. And I'm trying to think here now. Do you remember?
Then we go home and try to remember our own addresses.
Yes, try and make sure that our houses didn't burn down, because by the time we get home, we'll have been gone for a month. We were in New York for a few days before we came to the UK, and then we were in the UK for about a week before we came here. And then we're kind of heavy into the summer, and in the summertime we do some band stuff, but then we also kind of divide and conquer locally. So we do a lot of like duo and trio gigs and stuff like that, just to keep ourselves sharp. When you do gigs at home, they tend to be marathons, like they're 3 and 4 hours long without a break. So when you're used to getting, you know, 2 45-minute sets all year, and then you have to get back and do the long gigs again, and you have to get yourself back into shape again during the summer. But yeah, we have a few festivals around home, and yeah, I think it's going to be pretty crazy. By the time we get home, we don't get much of a rest before it gets super busy again.
Have you been writing material on the road as well? Or have you got enough to do?
I haven't been. What about you guys?
No,
Actually, just
You
yesterday,
That's right.
we were playing in Sandwick last night, and this thing popped into my head, and I went scrambling. I went into the kitchen and I asked the ladies who were cooking our supper if anybody had a pen, and they've all got like a ladle and a knife in their hand and looking at me like, "What do you mean a pen?" Like, you know, they're very busy doing other things. Anyway, I got a pen and I started scratching stuff down. I actually had some stuff coming to me, which I was trying to scratch out like quickly something that would at least jog my own memory, because that's the worst. I mean, we can all probably attest to this. You're driving somewhere and you get this tune idea in your head. By the time you stop, you have no idea what that was. It's gone, right? So I was just making little notes for myself, and a little bit of notation, although nobody could read it but me, I guess. Yeah, but you never know. It kind of comes up every now and again at the oddest time.
And you don't want to forget anything, I'm sure.
No.
Yeah.
Although I do forget where the piece of paper is.
No.
Okay, well, I think that's everything. So thank you very much for your time, and good luck in your gig tonight.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks a million.
Right.